Hey, what is up guys, Kolst here. So the patch 20.0, the big patch, has been announced by Blizzard for Hearthstone, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. You know it's a big patch because they actually mentioned Arena, Pog. But anyway, if you haven't looked through it, definitely recommend reading through it because there's a whole bunch of stuff there, including card balance changes and other stuff. But I want to make this video specifically talking about the Arena rotation because this has been finally announced, which will happen on March 30th. So basically, they've been continuing the trend here that they've been doing for the last couple of rotations now, which is making a mostly standard rotation. But this time, you can see the sets listed here. Basically, everything since Ashes of Outland is still in the game, but they added two wild sets, which is Rise of Shadows, which was back from like 2019, and Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, which was maybe 2017, 2018, not sure. I think 2017, but yeah, I just wanted to go through all of these two sets and just kind of point out some of the key cards that could really impact the meta. So let's just get right into it. So first we have let's go straight through Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. So there are 132 cards here. One of the things, I guess before we get too far, let's just talk about one of the concepts that was introduced. If you hadn't played in this expansion, there are the idea of tri-class cards. So, you know, Druid, this card is in not just a Druid card, but a Druid, Rogue, and a Shaman card. So all of these classes had access to it. And while we're also looking at it, I mean, these are Jades. If you don't know what Jades are, I envy you. But Jades, fortunately, are not too impactful of mechanic in Arena typically. So there are some Jade cards. I wouldn't usually pick any of the Jade cards in Druid, for example, except for maybe this sometimes, but you won't see this very often. And there were a lot of these cards, which were, I think, each class had one. Each tri-class combination had one. The three tri-class combinations are Druid, Rogue, Shaman, Hunter, Warrior, Paladin, and Mage, Priest, Warlock. But, yeah, like these things, this was still back in the days when, you know, they assumed that you had to actually give up something and get something. So these cards that discover a card are at a significant stat penalty. So I think, honestly, these cards just won't stand up in the current meta with how oversat everything is. But you never know. You might pick it sometimes. But yeah, other than that, so not much that Druid got. I guess Mark of the Lotus is pretty significant. And Aya is out of the Jade cards because it would be playable even just for its with no other synergy. But yeah, not much here for Druid. Hunter here, on the other hand, a lot of just really decent cards here. Alley Cat's back. Tabby Cat is the bro. Just a lot of like playable like curve minions. If you can get some hand buffs on Rat Pack, it's kind of insane. Same thing with Dispatch Kodo. Knuckles is cool. Piranha Launcher was always great. But just decent playable cards here. Nothing too shocking. Moving on to Mage. Mage had some pretty significant cards here. Mainly Volcanic Potion. This is one of the sets where Mage actually got some really cheap early AoE, which they don't always have. So that really helps with their survivability. Also, yeah, Cabal Courier, since it's a 3-mana 2/2, is like not giving up too much. So this card you probably will see. Also, Mage Priest Warlock cards, especially at the time, they tended to be really good. So you will see this card sometimes. But other than that, I mean, honestly, not too much that's super impactful in Arena here. Moving on to Paladin. A lot of kind of memey hand buff synergy Paladin had here. This card was pretty insane. If you got hit by this on 2 minions, you pretty much lost instantly. So, but I mean, you know, not too much different there. You try to stay on board and knock Paladin off board, and then you win. And if you don't, you get Grime Street protected. So, not too much to talk about there. I guess it's important to know that Getaway Kodo exists. Just, you know, the secret also, talking about, since I mentioned that secret also, you know, Potion of Polymorph. Make sure you're aware of this. But, not super impactful. Not super crazy impactful. Moving on to Priest, where a lot of these cards actually are extremely impactful. Potion of Madness, probably one of the most tilt-inducing cards ever printed. It's just really good. It's basically Shadow Madness, but it costs only 1 mana, but you can't hit quite as big a minion with it. But if you hit a Potion of Madness, you would usually just win. Mana Geode card that could potentially, you could buff this card and snowball out of your mind and bad things can happen. But also in the set, Cabal Talent Priest at the time, and probably honestly this card probably stands up to the test of time, probably would still be one of the best 3-drops ever printed even now if it were printed now. Really good. Dragonid Operative, one of the best value cards ever printed. Requires you to have a dragon, which will be pretty hard to do right now probably, but at worst case it's a 5 mana 5/6, right? They also have probably the best silence card ever printed. Raza. And Dragon Fire Potion, one of the better AoEs ever printed. So this is an absolutely insane set for Priest. Priest is going to have access to all these tools. Priest is going to have really, I think, the best access to just removal in general. One of the things that I'm going to make a video about is that like a lot of classes just really aren't going to have the ability to slow people down, I think, and aggro is going to be a big thing, but Priest might have what it takes. Here, moving on to Rogue. Honestly, there's some okay cards. I like Lotus Assassin, but honestly, like, Rogue kind of got the short end of the stick in this expansion. One of their cards is literally just a coin, which isn't bad and constructed always, but, you know, not exactly the best. Jade Shuriken was, like, one of the better cards they had, which is just kind of underwhelming, so not too much here. Moving on to Shaman. Devolve is a very powerful tool, potentially. Not always a card you're going to pick in Arena just because it's inconsistent, but, you know. I guess it's worth noting, compared to the other classes, Shaman had by far the best Jade cards, I think, out of anyone. So Jade Claws and Jade Lightning, both just really good standalone cards, even without any synergies. So those are cards you would pick a lot. They might not be the strongest anymore, but you still might go for it sometimes. And they have some good neutral healing here with the Jinyu Water Speaker. Well, not neutral, but yeah, some good class healing. Next we have Warlock, another class that had pretty good cards here. Well, they had a couple of really bad cards. You probably would never take this, the Stinger, but this card's a little difficult to pick just because the downside is so big and it hits you so hard. But there's some good cards here. Blast Crystal Potion, probably the best potion outside of maybe Potion of Madness. I'm not sure. Depends on what you want. Crystal Weaver is just a solid stat minion. Usually wouldn't do too much, but it's just a decent minion. Fellfire Potion, really notable card for the meta because there are probably people watching this video that have never seen a draw in Hearthstone. If this card is in the meta, you will see draws in Hearthstone because just the odds, sometimes you're behind and your opponent goes below 5 and you're below 5 and you just are like, okay, I'm not winning, so let's just get out of here, right? And yeah, that will be a thing that you will see. But yeah, anyway, other just Cabal Trafficker, also just a card that can get out of control, and Abyssal Enforcer, one of the most defining cards ever printed. This card had an offering penalty for most of its existence, so you may not see it quite as often, but you know, same thing as Fellfire Potion, this card creates some draws too, so it'll be a thing that you will be made aware of very much. And for Warrior got like a whole bunch of Mimi hand buff stuff. They got a way to discover Tom, and any discover is going to be really good, so this will probably be a pretty playable card. Otherwise, not too much. I guess like Sleep with the Fishes was a pretty significant removal that they got, so the ability to just deal with multiple minions that are damaged, pretty useful. But otherwise, not too much here. I feel like Brass Knuckles is gonna feel really slow now. There's just better weapons, so you probably won't pick that too much. And then moving on to neutrals in Mean Streets. A lot of these cards, honestly, have just been power crept to the point that, you know, you're not going to pick them. Dirty Rat's a great constructed card, but not a card you typically want in Arena. Something like Blowgill Sniper is just, you know, a little weak now. But cards that could still remain relevant, like Mistress to Mixtures, would probably be great if you're playing a defensive deck. Friendly Bartender is a 2-mana 2/3 with upside. He usually gives you like 1 or 2 points of healing. It's great, you know. Otherwise, yeah, cards like this just not quite going to stand up to the test of time. It wasn't even good at the time, so, you know, yeah, you're not going to see too much of this. Otherwise, yeah, there's some decent minions. There's a new Ooze, Daring Reporter. Daring Reporter, I feel like it used to pop off with it sometimes, but now I feel like, since it's only a 4-mana 4/4 at the time, you probably won't see it go out of control too much anymore. It's going to be up against better cards, basically. Kooky Chemist, I feel like, might be a card that actually has stood up to the test of time a little bit better, because this is still a powerful effect. It will always be a powerful effect, so you might see this card quite a bit. But yeah, otherwise, really, I don't think there's too much else to jump out at. There's a silence here that works on death rattles, pretty significant. But otherwise, really, some decent cards, but nothing that really stands out too much. So alright, that's all on Mean Streets and Gadget Stands. Let's go through Rise of Shadows. So now we go through Druid. Druid's actually getting another AoE buff. They had Mark of the Lotus, and they're also gonna bless the Ancients. So I guess, you know, token Druid will be a thing. That's pretty safe to say, I think. Swaladris is an insane legendary. Otherwise, like Acorn Bearer, just another really good card that works with that token strategy. And some cards here that, yeah, Forest Aid as well. So a lot of pretty good spread. A lot of relevant cards here. If you run out stuff. Crystal Sun Portal, sometimes it's hard to actually trigger, but if you can get this, it's one of the best value cards ever printed. So, you know, a lot there, but nothing that really stands out too much, I guess. Moving on to Hunter. Rapid Fire is coming back, and I believe we still have the legendary that turns your spells poisonous, which could be some real synergy there. Mark Shot is always was always a pretty good card. This card may actually be better now because, as I've said, I feel like a broken record at this point. Anything that has Discover on it is going to be really good now because a lot of the bad Discover options aren't there anymore. So discovering a spell is going to be amazing. Unleash the Beast was a pretty meta-defying card at the time, but I feel like this card might just be a little slow now. Basically, you get 2 of them, but it's 6 mana, 5/5 rush. That just feels a little weak now. Moving on to Mage, we have Chadgar. I'm sure Battlegrounds players will be very familiar with that one. And Messenger Raven was a pretty defining Mage card at the time. But again, like, this is a card that I feel like, since you're giving up significant tempo, it might not be quite the powerhouse it used to be, but there will be things. And thing we have to talk about, I think I will make a whole video about this card. I don't think we need to talk about this. This card is being buffed to 3 mana, and Magic Trick will be a way to discover it, just like it was on release. And yeah, I'm just gonna ignore this for now and talk about it later. But yeah, Power Creation, another really powerful late game card, which you can potentially combo with Chadgar. So Mage getting a lot here. Moving on to Paladin. Bronze Herald, another one of those cards that used to be pretty defining, but it's a little slow. It's just a lot of value, but honestly, yeah, like, I think there's just better cards now, so you might not take this too much. Desperate Measures would actually be probably pretty good now, because a lot of the bad secrets are gone anymore, so now you just get 2 secrets instead of 1. You know, I feel like a lot of times with Paladin, especially now that none of the secrets are completely useless, you'd be totally happy to get whatever with this, so this card is probably going to be really good, actually. Never Surrender will be back, important to note. Otherwise, I guess not too much here that's super relevant. Moving on to Priest, this is another set that is really good for Priest, just like Mean Streets and Gadget Stand was. Forbidden Words just literally lets you basically kill anything if you're willing to pay enough mana for it, which, you know, sometimes you just need that, right? And other times you can, like, you know, remove a 1 attack thing for 1 mana. Just a very powerful, flexible card. Evil Conscriptor, one of the best lackeys. Oh, I forgot to mention lackeys. This is the first lackey card we've seen, right? So yeah, lackeys will be back. That's one of the most significant things that will be back in Rise of Shadows. Let's just talk about that a little bit later, but yeah. Priest is getting another one of their overstatted 4-drops. There are a lot of overstatted 4-drops in the new set, Forge in the Barrens, but yeah, Priest gets 1 more even. And the ability to silence and copy it, which is very strong. Infiltrate is back, and yeah, just a lot of really good cards here. So moving on to Rogue. Rogue, of course, also getting Evil Miscreant, the ultimate lackey card. Vendetta. I feel like Vendetta will probably be relatively easy to trigger given the cards that are in the set right now, so this card will probably be something you see sometimes. Burglar is always fun. Other than that, I guess Fence is really good. It turns into a 3/4 rush if you have cards from other classes. But otherwise, oh, and Contract, which was... Contract at the time was one of the best cards ever... I want to say one of the best cards ever printed. It would do different things, but especially if you got the Turncoat Contract, you would usually just win the game instantly. Yeah. a lot there. Shaman here, Shaman's actually, I didn't realize they're getting so much Murloc synergy, because Shaman has a lot of Murloc synergy with the new set also, so this is another set that has a lot of really good Murloc synergy, including the best Murloc synergy card, which is Angler, which means if you just have 2 Murlocs, you just literally fill your board with Murlocs. It's really solid, and you get Scargill, it's even more disgusting. Important card to note here, Hagatha's Scheme. Just a card that, you know, if a Shaman's not really doing anything, they might just blow up the entire board for 5 mana. So important thing to keep in mind they're capable of. And they also have Walking Fountain back, which is quite the meta-defining card for Shaman. So Shaman's going to be one of the classes that really has the ability to counteract aggro. But, yeah. And then moving on to the last class, second last class, Warlock. Evil Genius. So let's talk about the lackeys a little bit here, because so basically the reason lackeys were so good at the time was you would pretty much just want to get Dragon Lackey anytime, you know. You would take like let's skip ahead a little bit to talk about like where is it, Evil Caber. You would take a 2-mana 1/1 just because of the upside of you getting the possibility of getting a Dragon Lackey was so high. Dragon Lackeys will not be quite the same as they were because Descent of Dragons is not in, so you're not just going to hit like Twin Tyrant, for example, or Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. But Runaway Blackwing is in the game still, and as of now, they have not made the decision to remove it from the Discover pool, so that will still be a thing. In addition, one of the other thing to note with lackeys is that Spell Lackey was often, it depends on what class you're in. Some classes it's a lot better than others, but Spell Lackey would often be a low roll. But I think given that the core set changes, a lot of the bad spells leaving, all of a sudden the Spell Lackey is just going to be really good in general. But yeah, lackeys are just going to be really good. And Evil Genius is going to be an incredibly powerful card. Other than that though, honestly, Warlock really didn't get a lot in this set. They really just got Evil Genius. These cards are somewhat playable, but really not much to talk about there. Moving on to the last class, Warrior. Warrior has one of the really good lackey generation cards here as well. But otherwise, not cards that are super great. You're not going to get like a super crazy bomb synergy based deck, as you know, Boom's the legendary most of the time, so not too much there. It's important to know that sweeping strikes exist. So leaving up a main against Warrior with a lot of attack can be quite a bit risky. Again, but honestly, if it wasn't a card you would play around too much, just because you just hope they didn't have it, honestly. And pretty significant card here, Omega Devastator. Really good late game card once you have 10 mana crystals, but it would also just be a Yeti if you just need a Yeti. So good card. And then going back to neutrals again, yeah, there are just some really solid cards. Hogsteed obviously was a really good card. I feel like it's probably not going to feel as good as it did, but it's still obviously going to be pretty good. Faceless Rager was a pretty significant card that would, you know, pop off sometimes. You just get like a 3-mana 5/8 or something, and there's going to be a lot of overstated minions. A lot of times you would play this on turn 5, and in the new core set with like the 4-mana 5/7 for existence, you're gonna see that combo reasonably often. Otherwise, there's a fair number of like decent static cards, Proud Defender, as well, like some overstat 4-drops in this set too, which will be interesting. Pretty significant, the Dalaran Crusader and the Scribe. These cards draw back. We're used to strong 6-drops existing, but we're not used to really having anything quite like Dalaran Crusader anymore. Something that at least if your opponent has an empty board, it can't just get Rusty traded, right? So pretty significant. But yeah, otherwise not too much. And of course, I guess we note that good old Dig Day is back. But yeah, otherwise, I think that's pretty much all I want to talk about for these sets. Thanks a lot for hanging out, everyone. If you want to see more of my videos on the core set or anything else, gonna be making so many videos about all these different things. Gonna talk about a few of the other cards specifically that may or may not be, you know, the next claw machine or super problematic cards as well. Talking about that very soon. Don't forget to comment if you enjoyed anything you thought about any of these cards. What are you excited to see back? What are you not excited to see back? Or really anything you want. But yeah, thanks a lot again, everyone. We'll see you guys next time.